Lynn and David Bush are in shape, in love, and in tune.
What do you say you and I take this party upstairs?
Crazy, stupid love. She was in love right off the get-go.
We're having twins!
They supported each other no matter good, bad, or indifferent. If one of them was in trouble, that didn't matter. They were there for each other.
Hey, would you want to grab a coffee or a drink before you head home?
But whispers of infidelity can turn sweet music to sour.
His behavior was changing, you know. He wasn't this happy-go-lucky family man anymore.
Good morning, honey.
I knew right then something was wrong.
You stay away from him!
And harmony can turn to homicide.
But everywhere we looked, we found blood.
I just felt there was something there that wasn't finished.
Love may be blind and marriage bliss, but divorce is murder. At just 20 years old, Lynn Knievel can't wait to swap her small hometown of Ranchester, Wyoming for the big city, Casper, 2 hours south.
She was very excited because there was a lot more down there in Casper. New people, start a new life.
Oh, I'm gonna miss you.
Lynn was always the go-getter and very bubbly, fun, personality, just boiled over all the time.
Lynn dreams of a career working with kids.
Honey, oh, don't forget these.
She loved kids.
She had always been a great babysitter, one of the hottest in demand growing up.
I'll call you when I get there.
In Casper, Lynn stays with relatives and gets a job at the local community college, where she meets 21-year-old David Bush.
Okay, what are my choices? White mystery substance or brown mystery substance?
Well, I made the brown one, so...
I guess I'll try that one.
They met when David worked in the college as the janitor, and Lynn was working in the cafeteria at that time.
David is a member of the military reserve and an avid outdoorsman.
Any sunshine?
He was attractive and nice looking, and he seemed to be very extroverted.
I was gonna bring a lunch, but then I'd be missing the best part of my day.
Am I your lunchtime special?
Would you like to be my Friday night special?
I'll think about it.
Lynn was crazy, stupid in love with David right off of the get-go.
That feeling is mutual.
She was beautiful. She was very loving, caring, a beautiful person inside and out.
Both share a spirit of adventure. They're into hiking and camping, and soon they're inseparable.
I think I did it.
Looks good to me.
Thanks. My very first tent.
Lynn and David were very hands-on affectionate, and they just did a lot together, and they always had fun. They made sure they had fun.
Within a few months, the two move in together, and before long, put a down payment on a house.
It was a decent starter home, and put a lot of work into it. It wasn't anything special, but it was filled with love.
2 years after meeting, David and Lynn marry in Lynn's hometown of Ranchester.
It was a beautiful spring day.
Sun was shining, skies were blue.
Lynn was very excited about getting married. David was too. He wanted everything to be right.
They were both happy.
It was very, very, very exciting for the whole family, really.
And a few months into their marriage, the Bushes have settled into a comfortable routine.
They had some really close friends that they had spent time drinking and partying.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.
So, What do you say you and I take this party upstairs?
But sometimes there's an uncomfortable element to those parties. David's brother, Glendale.
Hey, is the party already over?
Glendale had been in trouble in and out of jail his entire life.
Glendale is a wild child and one of David's closest friends.
They supported each other no matter good, bad, or indifferent. If one of them was in trouble, that didn't matter. They were there for each other.
What is he doing here?
I'm sorry, he's my brother. What can I do? Go upstairs, I'll try to get rid of him.
Lynn didn't like it when David and Glenn were together. I think she was scared of their influence together.
Listen, tonight's not a good night, okay?
She was afraid of what might happen if they were together and did something wrong.
Luckily, Glendale's lifestyle keeps him on the move, while Lynn and David seems right on track.
So?
We're having twins.
That's amazing!
Having a child for David and Lynn was everything.
But their happiness is short-lived. Lynn miscarries in the early months.
She wanted to be a mom more than anything.
In the coming months, Lynn and David struggle to cope with their loss. And Lynn takes it especially hard.
Baby, you need to sleep.
At that time, she felt that maybe she was going to be unable to have any children of her own, and she really wanted to have a child of her own.
Psychotherapist Stacy Kaiser and forensic psychologist Brian Russell are confident that Lynn and David's relationship is strong enough to survive.
David and Lynn seem to be doing everything right. They met at an appropriate age. They've had a really significant courtship. They got married, and they tried to have a child.
David and Lynn didn't get married ridiculously young, like straight out of high school. They did give themselves some time to get to know each other. I would not have counseled the living together, though, because I think that sometimes that turns the marriage ultimately into sort of an afterthought, as opposed to a major, profound decision to join two people's lives together going forward.
A tragic event like a miscarriage can take an emotional toll on a relationship, and couples in those circumstances usually either come together or pull apart. But when I look at David and Lynn, I think to myself that these two are going to come together, they're going to deal with how hard it is, and they're going to continue to move on with their relationship and their lives.
In the fall of 1987, some good news.
David, look!
You're pregnant? That's amazing!
They were both so excited. We all were.
David and Lynn's daughter Maisie is born in May 1988.
Oh, it was glorious.
It was a very happy time for him.
David absolutely doted on Macy. He loved that little girl. He loved her very much. Lynn was the best mom. It was what she always wanted. She was just always awesome with kids.
So much so that 6 months later, instead of returning to her job at the college, Lynn opens a home daycare.
What have you got there? What'd you find?
She wanted to work with kids, and so daycare center seemed to be the right way to do it.
Bye. Oh, hi. Kids, look who's here.
Almost overnight, the daycare is a success.
Lynn loved the kids, and the kids loved Lynn, and the parents loved Lynn.
People, trusted her. They thought highly of her.
But the trust in this home is about to be broken.
She was young, she was fit, she was lots of fun.
I was absolutely shocked.
After the birth of daughter Maisie, Lynn Bush opens a daycare at the home she shares with her husband of 2 years, David.
The first year, David acted pretty good about it. The second year, it kind of started to go downhill.
She would keep kids occasionally all night or on weekends, or the parents would be late picking them up, and so that would get into David time. She was stuck at home with the daycare, so she wasn't able to go out as much and do fun things.
David starts to resent the constant intrusion on his home.
Good morning, honey. Are you going out?
Yeah, I'm going for a run. I can't deal with the noise, the kids.
David spent less time at home. He really didn't care for the kids in the house anymore.
Meanwhile, Lynn finds a new companion, food.
You might want to ease up on those.
Well, as any woman, you don't want to gain weight, and she also knew how much David hated that. And he was not kind to her about that, like, you probably don't need to eat that, or why are you eating that?
What the hell was that? Sometimes the kids just put him on edge.
His behavior was changing, you know. He wasn't this happy-go-lucky family man anymore.
Perhaps that's why David decides to make two very big changes in his life. He quits the reserves to join the National Guard.
David didn't want to deploy. At that time, it was reserves that were deploying, not the National Guard state units.
And quits his job at the college and starts working at a care facility for individuals with disabilities, which is where he meets a single mom named Diane Johnson.
I'm telling you should bring your kids to my wife's daycare. Hey, would you want to grab a coffee or a drink before you head home?
Sure.
Okay.
Hey. Hi.
David tells me that you have the best daycare in town.
Oh, you must be Diane. Come, take a look around.
Thank you.
Lynn is thrilled that David's new job is good for her business, too.
Well, thanks for stopping by. You know, we should grab a beer sometime.
Sure. Why not?
Sounds great.
But there's something Lynn doesn't know.
He was having an affair with Diane.
The affair continues for a couple of months.
Where is it? Hi, Diane.
Hi.
She never suspected, not that she ever told me.
With Lynn completely in the dark, the two women grow closer,
Hey, what are you doing on Friday night?
and the illicit lovers grow more brazen.
David's got this military thing. Between the night shifts and the army, I'm practically single over here.
Well, I'm busy, but another time, yeah.
Kids, Mom's here. Are you ready to go?
I think a lot of it was, I'm going to see if I can get away with it. And then in the back of his mind, he was laughing that I did that, nobody knows.
She didn't want to accept that things were bad and that things were wrong.
Until either guilt or boredom kicks in, and David breaks things off with Diane. For Diane, it's a relief.
She felt really bad about cheating because she said Lynn was such a nice person. But she thought that would hurt Lynn more telling her about it than it would do any good, and so she just kept her mouth shut.
Kids, your mom is here. Come in, let's grab some coffee.
I'd love to.
David and Lynn are only 2 years into the marriage, and usually at that point people are still in the stage where they're pretty happy. And so Not only do we find out David has cheated, but it sounds like he's been wanting to do it for some time because he's become hypercritical of Lynn. It sounds like he's been sort of looking for faults that he could use to rationalize and justify cheating.
It's possible that what might be going on for David is that early on, Lynn saw David as the center of her universe. And now she has her child and these other children in the house, and so her attention has been diverted and pulled away from him.
I don't know that that's happening, but certainly Lynn is continuing to do some things that David has made clear he's unhappy about, continuing to run the daycare, not getting back into fitness, for example.
No one makes a person have an affair. It doesn't matter if you gain 500 pounds, if you have 6 jobs that your spouse doesn't like. If the person's character is such that they will not cheat, they won't cheat no matter what.
Aren't you cute?
With the affair over, Lynn has David all to herself again. But not for long.
I'm just gonna take a quick shower. Good night, Maisie. Lynn, I'll be back later.
Sure.
You're wild.
He soon turns his attentions to someone else, 19-year-old waitress, Judy Jackson.
Judy was, shining new wheels. She was young, she was thin, kind of bubbly, so something new for him to explore.
After knowing each other just a few weeks, David and Judy set a standing date for Saturday nights. And once again, David's MO is to tell Lynn he's working the night shift.
David, dinner's ready.
I can't. I'm working.
Tonight? You didn't tell me you were working tonight.
Well, I'm telling you now. Be home around 2.
Lynn's starting to have her doubts. For all the hours he seems to be working, he simply isn't pulling in enough money.
They were on a very, very thin budget.
Lynn, I don't think, wanted anybody to know they might have been as bad off as they were, because David was gone one time and she's, in a roundabout way, said she was out of milk.
A nice, nutritious breakfast to start the day.
And got to thinking, that just doesn't seem right.
You know what, honey? How about breakfast at Grandma's? Great.
Lynn starts putting 2 and 2 together.
She felt bad because she felt left out.
She thought, yeah, he's cheating and he's doing his thing.
Ready to go to Grandma's? Let's go.
It's clear to everybody that the marriage is in trouble.
Stay there. I'm coming to get you.
But nobody's prepared for just how much.
I was concerned, but because I knew Glenn had escaped.
I think the secret she kept ate at her over time.
After just 4 years of marriage, David Bush is on his second affair with a 19-year-old waitress named Judy.
Judy was in love with David. She wanted to spend more and more time with him, and so this is becoming a problem, being away from the home.
She believed that David was going to leave his wife for her.
The longer David's affair with Judy continues, the more strain it puts on his relationship with Lynn and on their shared finances.
Oh my God.
Increasingly, over time, when Judy and David were having this affair, he was spending more and more money on her. And so he was racking up credit card debt, spending extra money that they had, and really putting their financial situation in dire straits.
And it isn't just the money that's tight. On the rare occasions David is home with Lynn, the atmosphere can be cut with a knife.
David, what is this withdrawal for $500?
I had to take the truck in.
You didn't tell me that.
Since when do I have to tell you everything?
It's a little hard for you to tell me anything since you're never home.
Her emotions were on high. They were arguing, they were fighting.
Just tense. Tension everywhere.
I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't have some idea and just was hoping that it would go away.
Part of what's happening here is that Lynn is literally living in an illusion of a marriage. And that kind of experience where you are sort of the only one rowing the boat makes a person feel scared, angry, and sad. He is still seeing other women. He's spending her hard-earned money on those women. And I'm worried that what's starting to happen is a really volatile situation. Up until now, Lynn has sort of bit her tongue and tried to make everything okay. But I am worried that the day is going to come where she isn't going to be able to bite her tongue anymore.
I think it's rare for somebody to be in Lynn's position and have no idea that they're being cheated on and taken advantage of by their spouse. I think Lynn probably had a pretty good idea of what David was up to. We don't know for sure how bothersome it was to her. I've talked to some people who've been in Lynn's situation, and they have sort of already given up long ago on their spouse, and they didn't even mind it that much. They were even relieved a little bit that the spouse wasn't around that much, because then they could at least sort of have a predictable day and go about their business.
As if juggling a wife, a child, and a mistress isn't complicated enough, David gets a call from his half-brother, Glendale.
Hello? Glenn, how you doing?
Who tells him that he's escaped from prison camp and needs David's help.
Glendale had been arrested for burglary, receive and conceal stolen property.
Where are you? Okay, stay there. I'm coming to get you. Okay, bye.
When Glendale got into the town, he made contact with David, and David assisted him, giving him a place to stay, some money, some clothing, some food.
Got you that, okay? Take it. You stay here for a few days. I'm gonna call you in a couple of days. Take this.
She wasn't very happy with David doing that, but she said it's over now, so I can't change that.
"4 years into the marriage, the house is bursting at the seams with all the secrets and lies. Things come to a head when Lynn opens the phone bill and sees a lot of calls, all to a number out of town.
Diane, it's Lynn. I think David's cheating on me. Yeah,
Then she calls the number she sees called the most.
Hello? Do you know David Bush?
Yes. Why do you ask?
This is Lynn Bush. I'm his wife. I will always be his wife, so you stay away from him.
Oh, well, there's nothing you can do about that. We love each other.
I can't believe you! I've been here working from home and you've been out screwing around on me!
Don't be ridiculous. Look at you.
I spoke with her!
You're crazy. I'm out of here.
She can't have you!
I think Lynn had had enough, and I think it came to a breaking point with her.
Michelle, it's Lynn. He's cheating on me with some pizza girl. I'm done, sis. I spoke with her yesterday. I can't believe we're having people over tomorrow and I have to pretend like everything's fine. I don't know if I can handle this anymore, Michelle. If I leave, can Macy and I stay with you for a while? Thank you. I love you too. Bye.
She was finally done.
The next day, Lynn heads out to buy groceries for the party later that evening.
I'm going to the store.
Okay. Lynn? Lynn?
But she doesn't return from the store. And that night, the party goes ahead without Lynn.
Hey, David, where's Lynn?
You know what? I think she's a little mad at me for some of the things that I did, so she took off. That's it, right? Anyways, as I was saying, it was 4 miles that it was on top of the car.
He just said that she probably was mad and went somewhere.
By morning, David has to face facts.
This big suitcase was missing, a blue suitcase.
Lynn?
And a few of Lynn's personal items.
Lynn!
The question remains, where's Lynn?
The driver's side door was ajar, and the groceries were in the back of the truck.
Obviously, Glenda's gonna be looked at as a suspect.
Lynn Bush has finally had enough. She's caught her husband of 4 years in an affair with a 19-year-old. And when things come to a head, Lynn goes to the store and doesn't come home.
Hello. It was a Sunday morning. David called our house. I answered the phone. He wanted to know if we had seen Lynn.
What do you mean she's not at home? Oh, what's going on, David?
Nobody is surprised to hear that Lynn would leave David.
We had a big fight the other day. She went to get groceries and she never came back home, so.
But there's one problem.
I don't know. I think she's mad and she went somewhere. I'm trying
I said, well, if she was mad and planned on spending the night somewhere, she would have taken Macy with her.
I knew right then something was wrong. Because Lynn would have never left Macy, ever.
I woke up in the morning, she's still not there. The truck's not there.
David's brother Glendale is still on the lam, which gives everyone cause for concern.
Have you heard from Glenn lately?
Glenn? No. What?
Well, my first thought was Glenn because he had been out. In my mind, I thought, well, maybe Glenn's jealous of David, that he has a wife and a baby, or maybe he's going to play tricks on David of taking her and kidnapping her or something and see what David does.
Listen, I'm gonna go look for her. Look after Macy, all right? Thank you.
Glendale is on David's mind, too.
He believed that possibly his brother, Glendale, was involved for reasons that Glendale's a thief, a burglar, had been involved in drugs, was an escapee at the time from the Wyoming State Penitentiary.
After a few hours of searching, David makes a troubling discovery. His truck with no sign of Lynn.
What's going on?
Yes, hello. I'd like to report a missing person. My wife. Her name is Lynn Bush. I found her truck. It was abandoned. Okay, thank you. They're on their way over.
Police agree to launch an investigation.
David had reported that he had found the keys to the truck laying on the ground next to the truck. The driver's side door was ajar. Everywhere we looked that you couldn't see, we found blood. We found blood behind the light switch. We found blood behind the visor. We found blood behind the driver's side door handle.
The blood is alarming. Police begin to explore every possible avenue.
Where were you yesterday afternoon?
I was taking a nap with my daughter.
Can you think of any reason why your wife might have just left like that?
No, not really.
We found blood in the truck. Any idea what might have happened there?
Lynn suffered from nosebleeds pretty often. I would say it probably had to do with that.
David started telling us that he believed that Glendale is probably the one who kidnapped his wife. And at that time, Glendale was an escapee from the Wyoming State Penitentiary.
Obviously, Glendale's going to be looked at as a suspect.
But Glendale's nowhere to be found. And besides, he's not the only suspect. It turns out there are plenty of people who might want to see Lynn out of the picture.
David had several affairs with many women over the course of his marriage, and over time these started to surface.
Fine. Okay, yes. I was having affairs.
Police track down all of the women David has slept with. But each of them denies having any knowledge of Lynn's whereabouts. As does David.
I told you. I was having a nap with my daughter.
Friends and family frantically try to help.
We started getting flyers out, picture of Lynn on this flyer, the few details that we had. Start scattering them all over, the little towns and cities around,
The investigators scour an ever-growing area, but come up empty-handed.
We had several officers. We had the assistance of a helicopter, and we searched what we could, but realizing without any additional information, the search was futile.
As for David, he moves on with his life very quickly. And within days, he moves Judy into the house.
I was absolutely shocked.
A worried husband would be out looking for his missing wife. He would be putting posters up. He would be leaving no stone unturned. And yet David seems to be detached and uninterested and really just going about his business, which is exactly what he did throughout the entire marriage.
Within days of Lynn's disappearance, David moves Judy into the house. Now, people cope with loss in many ways, but nobody I've ever seen copes that way, especially not when they're a parent. Imagine what it must have been like to be a member of Lynn's family during this time when their loved one is missing, they don't have any closure, they probably have suspicions about what happened. It would just be an awful position to be in because it would be as if everything were sort of frozen in time.
As weeks go by with no sign of Lynn, police are forced to consider the worst.
This wasn't a missing person case, that this is a homicide case.
And yet there's nothing to definitely prove Lynn has been harmed. The blood from the truck is tested. But in the early days of DNA testing, the results are inconclusive. They can't confirm that it's Lynn's.
There wasn't any way that we could quantify the amount of blood that was there. We could not say that it belonged to Lynn.
It's enough to add David to the list of suspects. But without a body, no conclusive forensic evidence, and no witnesses, there is nothing to concretely tie him, or anyone else, to Lynn's disappearance. The case grows cold.
You always have that one case that you wish you could have done more on.
By 1992, Lynn has been missing for 2 years. And even though there's no proof of foul play or accidental death, the Knievels decide to honor their daughter with a memorial service.
Nobody had seen her. They hadn't heard anything from national bulletins, nothing. We decided to hold a memorial for Lynn to put our minds at rest. It was sad, but it was a relief.
David, who is still living with Judy, doesn't show up.
Dave was not there at the memorial at all. He helped with nothing.
What he does do is allow Maisie to move in with her grandparents.
Emotionally, she was just almost a wreck. She was having a hard time. She was glad she was at home with us. And that's when I started taking her to counseling.
Okay, here you go, sweetie. Your favorite.
Years go by, and Lynn's family try to adjust to life without their daughter.
It was hard. It heals. She didn't ever forget.
It isn't just family who won't let go. For one tenacious police officer, the case becomes an obsession.
I just felt there was something there that wasn't finished.
In 1990, Lynn Bush disappears, leaving behind a straying husband, a motherless daughter, and a distraught family. The investigation stutters to a reluctant halt after years of fruitless leads.
She just disappeared into the wind.
But police do not give up. It takes 3 years, but finally they track down the one person they couldn't account for during the initial investigation: David's brother, escaped convict Glendale.
He was on the lam for quite a while.
When Glendale is picked up in another state for burglary, he's immediately brought in for questioning.
Did you have anything to do with Lynn's disappearance?
I wasn't in town, man. I didn't even know she was missing.
Where were you?
Look, after David gave me some cash and a new ID, I left. I split. I left town, man.
David gave you an ID?
Yeah, a military one.
David had stolen these military ID cards, and he was forging them, putting different names on them. He had made one for Glendale.
Glendale's story checks out, as does his alibi.
And on the day that Lynn disappeared, he was in jail in Wichita, Texas.
With Glendale ruled out as a suspect, police decide to take another look at David. They charge and arrest him for helping Glendale escape from prison camp, even though they still can't connect him to Lynn's disappearance.
You guys are making things up. You don't have anything on me. This is total bull.
David is incarcerated for 24 months, while the reason for Lynn's disappearance remains a mystery. For 11 long years, until one young detective takes a renewed interest.
In 2004, I was a detective, pretty young detective. The sergeant at the time took all of us into the conference room and said, okay, who wants the Bush case? No one answered. So I jumped up and down and said, I'll take it.
What starts out as youthful enthusiasm soon becomes full-blown obsession.
So I just kept going and going, and I did all this, after hours when, everyone in my household was sleeping, or any vacation. Just felt there was something there that wasn't finished.
Detective Loving revisits testimonies from those interviewed over a decade ago, including David's mistress, Judy. Long since broken up with David, she is finally ready to talk.
When you spoke to David that night, What did he say to you?
He called me and he told me it's done.
And what do you think he meant?
That he killed her.
Why didn't you say anything before?
Because I was afraid. That could have been me.
She made some bad choices back then, but she was truly a good person, and she knew that she had to come forward with that.
It's still not enough. So Catherine pays David's old cellmate a visit.
David is a model prisoner, so immediately he's talking and bragging to his inmates and people he knows in prison. And so he starts talking about committing the perfect crime, getting away with murder.
David is now the prime suspect, and in 2006, he's arrested for Lynn's murder.
He was very cooperative. It was surreal, I guess. We finally caught this person that was big hype.
Mike, I want you to know we just arrested David Bush for the murder of Lynn.
And I said, that is great.
The DA thinks so too.
The district attorney, then felt we had enough evidence to take the case to trial.
Especially because in the 16 years since Lynn went missing, DNA technology has improved.
They built her DNA, because we don't have a body, through her parents and her daughter, and were able to build a DNA for Lynn, and this blood matched that DNA. 1990, you needed a much larger specimen to get the DNA. In 2005, they're able to say that all these different locations belonged to Lynn.
To add to the DNA results, heart-wrenching evidence from doctors who had treated Maisie over the years.
In 2006, we're able to bring in the doctors that were treating her for medical treatment to disclose what happened in those sessions.
It turns out Maisie was likely a witness to the crime.
She was saying, Mommy had an owie on her head, and then Mommy's quiet. Daddy killed Mommy. Maisie witnessed the crime. We're sure of this.
The terrible story of what happened to Lynn Bush finally comes to light, 16 years later.
I think the night that Lynn was last heard from, some type of family violence broke out.
Maisie, we need to go!
Go? Where are you going?
David, I've had enough. I can't handle this anymore. I'm taking Maisie and I'm going to my parents' house. David!
You're not leaving.
Ow!
You're not going
Ow,
anywhere.
David, you're hurting me!
Maisie!
David! Ah! Stop! David! Ah! No, stop! Stop!
Maisie also likely witnessed David's disposal of Lynn's body.
I believe that he probably wrapped her in something like a shower curtain, carried her body out and put it in the truck.
She was saying, Mommy's where Christmas trees don't have lights and candy canes. Mommy's running through the grass. I don't think we'll ever find Lynn. That's something I have to live with. I'm sure Kevin and Mike live with it too. It's something we all wish we could bring her home.
I think David's a sociopath, as evidenced by the fact that he seems to have no emotional connections and no remorse for any of his behaviors. So even all those years later, when he finally gets caught and he is sentenced and there's all that evidence, he is not willing to admit what he has done or let people know where the body is, because it would mean that he was telling people that he actually committed the crime.
My guess would be David doesn't feel that he owes anybody anything. Doesn't feel that he owes Lynn's family anything, doesn't feel that he owes even his own daughter anything. Probably still to this day, deep down, doesn't really feel that he did anything wrong other than making mistakes in how he went about eliminating Lynn that caused himself to be caught.
In 2007, David Bush is found guilty and sentenced to 45 years to life.
The Bush case was the first case to go to trial and be a conviction for a bodyless homicide in Wyoming.
I thought, hallelujah. It's like, you son of a bitch, you thought you were going to get away with it, and you didn't.
While the family has struggled to move on, their pain has never subsided.
Lynn was a beautiful person. She had a wonderful smile, and I guess the most important, that she was beautiful, just a beautiful person inside and out.
We miss her. I miss her terribly.
I know she's in a better place.
I love you. I miss you. I wish that you could see how beautiful your little girl grew up to be and what an amazing person she is and how much like you she is.